gentlemen, turn your speakers up. It's time for the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Turn up the bass. A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE. Oh yeah! Let's meet the hosts. First, a man hailing from the hub city in Indiana. He goes by @TooSweetKyle on Twitter. The host, Kyle Gagliardi. And your co-host, hailing from the valley of Lake Tahoe. He goes by @JimTuck89 on Twitter. Jim Tucker. And last but not least, hailing from the cornfield somewhere in Indiana, the full-time part-timer, Ian Garavaglia. Turn up the bass. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram @PodOnTheMark.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I'm your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi. And as always, I am joined by my good friend Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucky!
What's going on, Kyle? I feel like the comment section might be booing you harder than they booed Hulk Hogan on Monday.
Who, me?
Yeah, I just wanted to get like a Hulk Hogan beer reference in. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Fair
not
enough.
just me. It's not just you. There's somebody else in a hotel room that wasn't connected, but now is connected, thought he was lagging, but isn't. He is full-time, but he is the full-time part-timer. He is Ian Garavaglia.
Yeah, no, I ran up the stairs for my workout in the hotel gym. Yep, we're here. Ordered some poke though. This will be the first time I have poke. Never had it before, and apparently it's really good, and it's good for you. So I'm gonna try that while I'm watching AEW Dynamite tomorrow.
We got a Pokeball on the way, or what?
A little bit of Pokeball action. Yeah, no, drinking also. Did not realize this was very expensive IPA, but bought this. It says weed on it. No weed. I swear, no weed. It's really good.
Tweed, which
Tweed.
people know that tweed's not weed.
I don't know what that is.
Tweed is like texture, the tweed or print.
I didn't even know that was a word. Oh, you learned
That's a
something
teacher right
every day.
there.
Yeah, you know what? I was just going to say that.
It's a rough woolen fabric of a soft, open, flexible texture resembling Cheviot or homespun, but more closely woven. It's like suit material, tweed.
Oh, that's all you had to say.
If you have Boss tweed, you have a Boss suit. And apparently you have a Boss beer.
And
a Boss
your
ass
OTM word of the day. That could be a new segment.
He's a Boss ass bitch.
I didn't expect that song to be sung by Tucky tonight, but hey, anything can happen here at OTM like always, guys. We are 21 subscribers away from giving away a free signed Rey Mysterio Elite figure that our co-host Jim Tucker is going to hold up right now. It's verified and all that good stuff. All you got to do, hit that like button on this video. Make sure you're subscribed, and once we reach 400, you will have a shot. And Ian, there are other ways where they can get other entries. So how would they do that if they want to add 5 entries to that contest?
Well, the easiest way and the one that makes our hearts feel the warmest is by buying our merchandise, which we have tapestry, we have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have everything you need. I mean, genuinely, there is a lot of stuff on the website, and that website is right here below us on themarkwrestlingpodcast.com. All your proceeds and all the proceeds that come from it come straight back into the podcast and are a major help. Can't reiterate that enough.
You are 100% correct.
Also, reiterate, not a word.
Well,
Is it not?
Reiterate.
Yeah. The teacher's on one tonight.
Oh, we're back from break, brothers. We're 3 days back,
locked.
dude. Tucky's hot.
That's what it is. Hey, look at Hot Sauce Bill Moss. Speaking of hot, is in the house. He has entered the chat, and he said,
He's so
I don't know
hot
what he's
right
referring to here. He said, please don't, Tucky. Leave that shit in 2013. What was this in reference to?
I don't. Boss ass bitch. Boss.
Oh.
oh.
I mean, that's fair. Also, we got Kenny Cakes in the house. First time seeing that name in the chat. So Appreciate
Love
you
it.
stopping by, Kenny Cakes. We got a lot to talk about today, boys. Tucky, I'm pretty sure you're caught up on all the wrestling this week, correct?
I am, yes, sir.
So you watched NXT last night then?
I did not.
You're not all caught up.
I'm
You're
caught up in the
lying, son.
WWE. I'm like, it's one show. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Raw.
Ian,
But
are you just going to be working remote every other week? Is this how it's going to be for you?
Yeah, it's not necessarily what I want to be doing, but yeah, no, they invited me out here, and I will be leaving Friday, so I will be back in my own establishment and home next week.
for how
Hopefully you'll
long?
be- Yeah, that's what I was
No clue, no idea.
Well, hopefully you're still there for the Royal Rumble because you do have tickets, bud.
No, yeah, I will be home for that. I will make sure of that.
Which, by the way, Ian, we're only 3 weeks basically away from the Royal Rumble.
Party at my crib. Some are saying.
Some are saying if you live in the Indianapolis area, you might.
I'll give you my address.
I'm not going to disclose your city for you. Bill Moss, though, said best NXT of the year. Hard to disagree with him there since the year just started. And we got a Dirk on YouTube, which I'm assuming is Dirk Vogus. He goes, "Did you see the Hulk Hogan satire on the Pat McAfee show?" I did. I don't know about you guys.
I did not.
I did not.
Oh, it was funny. I'm trying to remember who or what his name is on the show, but he did an impersonation of Hulk Hogan, which we are going to talk about Hulk showing up on Monday Night Raw. But Dirk Vogus, if that is you, I'm assuming it is. Thanks again
Great
for
name.
stopping by. Great, fantastic name. I'm not going to pull up the bit though in time because I'm not on that page. Bill Moss said so excited for Oba Femi's reign. Yes, we're definitely going to be getting to that much later in the show. But the first thing we're going to talk about is the Main Event Wrestling Network, because we are, I guess you could say, poppin' large. And speaking of poppin' large, that shirt design is going to get a revamp of sorts, right, Ian? You're working on it?
Yeah, no, it is actually in the works, and I think you guys genuinely will love it. So it is in the works. Monday, I was going to do the design, and then my boss goes, "Hey, do you just want to come up to Michigan now?" So yeah, it didn't happen. But this weekend,
Selfish.
I will have something out. Yeah.
If your boss is watching this right now, you're a self.
He's not getting a shirt. He's not getting a shirt.
Listen here, big boss man. You got something coming to you, brother. That's all.
I'll
I
just tell him that.
No.
I thought you were going to add on to that.
No, that's it. I'm
Short promo
yeah,
to the point.
in and
I
out.
like it.
You don't want to be on the mic too long. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. And
Unless
surprisingly,
CM
The
Punk
Rock
and
wasn't
Seth Rollins.
on the mic too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Hulk
surprises.
On the mic
Hey,
too
Tuck,
long.
I do have a question before we get into all of the wrestling that happened this week. What's going on with that logo up in the corner of the screen? I'm not familiar with Main Event Wrestling Network. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
I think it's troubling that you don't know what that is when you are the president of that company. Disclaimer. But the Main Event Wrestling Network, this logo that you see right here, it is a collection of creative people that share a love for professional wrestling. We've got bloggers, we've got podcasters, we've got YouTubers, we've got content creators, a lot of people. And what we have in all of those avenues are unique individuals with different takes and different spins. When you think of the Wrestling Junkies, IW Guide, Indie Wrestling Guide, right?
Yep.
IW Guide. You got Tim Vicious, you got Great Brown Hope, talking about different corners of the pro wrestling space along with us and On the Mark. And the Main Event Wrestling Network is at main event_net on the socials. Visit onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com and you can cop some Main Event Wrestling Network merch. And more importantly, join the family if you've got something to give and you're interested, right? You have a voice and the world deserves to hear it. So blogging, podcasting, YouTubing, like graphics, designs, logos. It would be really cool to have someone, you know, if the network had somebody we could text and we're like, we are thinking about this design on a t-shirt, but we don't want to make it and you're better. Can you do it?
We'll pay you.
Yeah.
I'll pay you, I guess.
And our current MVM with the title for the podcast is a Great Brown Hope, who is brought up by Mr. Hot Sauce Bill Moss. Yo, where's my good friend GBH?
He's probably working.
It is a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. I know he was a little sick too, so he unfortunately was not able to attend Raw in LA or NXT. So that's a bummer for our
hearts out to him.
Great Brown Hope. Yeah, so hopefully they go back there. But man, he missed out because man, that Monday Night Raw, it felt like a WrestleMania. The build to it, the excitement levels were all there. First off, before we get into actually what kicked off Monday Night Raw, the presentation itself, going to the Intuit Dome, a brand new facility, high-tech environment. Tell me a little bit about how you felt about the production of the Netflix broadcast.
I first did not think it was significantly different in style or play. When it comes to the commentary and the presentation, I thought it was going to be a lot more first-timer-ish, a lot more elementary. But they did not, I think, spoon feed us as much as I thought they would. The Intuit Dome, an incredible space. I love the opportunity for the athletes, the wrestlers, to come out of the tunnel and look back and strike that strong pose at an actual wall of people, which before then seemingly only felt like it would be doable on AI, something like that. And so I thought the presentation felt a little sportier. The usage of the cameras, I thought it was creative, and more of the Netflix cinematography of it. If they had any hand in it, the drones and not necessarily new stuff, but different ways. Thought it was great.
Ian, would you agree with what Tucky's saying? Because I thought it was a top-notch. Like, it didn't even feel like a wrestling show at times. It felt like I was kind of watching a movie.
Yeah, no. So here's the thing. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I kind of disagree with you, Tuck. I thought it was kind of spoon feeding, like especially the casual fans. It felt like, I mean, you had all the superstars coming out, you had all the legends coming out as well, and it kind of felt like it was a shout out. Obviously, it was. Oh wait, I've seen these guys before. I'll stick around. Maybe tune in next week after you see that. You're not going to get them back, by the way, people, for the new fans. They're not coming back. So, but also, I see what you're saying though. Like, it wasn't spoon fed, especially with the storylines. They tried. They really did try. But all these storylines going into it, I mean, it was a year's work for, us try-hard wrestling fans that we've seen and grown. Some we love with the feuds, some we hate, but a lot of it was just wrestling, which is exactly what I wanted to see. And then they mixed in the casual fans kind of, oh, look at this legend, watch him talk for a while. And I think a perfect mixture of it was John Cena. I think if there's one point in that show that stood out above the rest, especially to help the new year, it's Cena, which makes sense because it's the start of his retirement tour. And it felt like it. It felt really good, and it gave these casual.
Oh no, did we lose him there for a second?
We gave the casual fans a new experience of great presentation. Ian?
You think he might be back now?
A reason to stick around.
There we go. That too. And that.
No, I like how you brought that up, though, Ian, because that's what I was going to say, is that I think a lot of us diehard wrestling fans that tune in every single week were expecting a little more, like, wrestling itself, because at the end of the night, it was only, I think, 4 matches on the card, but you have to think of this from a wider lens here, because this is Netflix. 120 million or something people are subscribed to that platform. They have access to it with a couple clicks. So this episode of Monday Night Raw, at least through my eyes, was more tailored towards the casual new wrestling fan. And I think that's exactly what it needed to be, Tuck, because let's be real here. Probably 80% of that audience was probably just a casual watching.
Current Netflix subscriber count as of the third quarter in 2024, 282.7 million paid subscribers.
That's
a lot of people.
More than I thought. So yeah,
According
it
to
might be a
my
higher
math,
number than what I'm saying.
It's crazy, and the fact that it is still being presented on the Netflix in the top 10 as premiere content, when you compare that, as Ian said, to the AEW experience on Max, not the same. And so I think when WWE announced the Netflix deal, we were all like, huh, that's I never thought, right? Netflix, live WWE. But then you look at the scope of it, and it just you look at the new ring mat, you look at the deal with Netflix, like they're in their bag and still charging $1,200 for WrestleMania tickets in the fucking 400 level.
You got to start saving up if you want to attend a WWE PLE nowadays. Luckily for us, we will be going to the Royal Rumble, but I don't know how much we're going to be able to go after that because of how expensive tickets are.
Well, SummerSlam, dude, it's 2 nights too.
You got to start saving for that too now.
Yes.
Great.
Well, I'm going.
Supposed to get a new house and everything here this year. Just bought a gym membership. Got a new car. Man, adulting sucks. But hey, we got a couple more comments trickling in. Hassan's in the house. He said, "Hey there, guys. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by." Bill said the Max debut just felt like another average AEW episode. He's not wrong.
But it was the mother of all simulcasts.
Is that what they were calling it?
Oh, yeah, often.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about AEW. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw and that debut on Netflix. Of course, you have to start things off with Papa H. I won the $1 bet with Ian, so I'm still waiting for him to Venmo me that $1, but maybe I'll get it on the Royal Rumble weekend. But nonetheless, Triple H starts off the show, and then lights go out, Rock's music hits, and a lot of us probably assumed we were going to be seeing the final boss that we saw for the majority of the build to WrestleMania last year, but Ian, that wasn't the case. This was a completely different Rock. He actually, showed his praise to Cody Rhodes, who weirdly was just front row for this show. Gunther wasn't even on the show. Very weird to have your two world champions not really be a big fixture of the show, but nonetheless, how did you feel about the way The Rock addressed the crowd? Because this wasn't The Rock that we were used to seeing out of the past 12 months.
Well, I'm going to be bluntly honest. This was the one part of the show that I really didn't like. It was it felt like a slap in the face to like wrestling fans. I hope they twist it. I really do. I hope we're all getting worked into, I don't know, somehow that he comes in next week, does the same exact thing, and then just snaps. I was expecting him to snap at any point during the show, but again, it makes sense for the casual fans. That's kind of why I leaned on. I was expecting Cena to come out more, hype up the crowd, and actually be friendly,
right?
Because he's supposed to be. No, The Rock. It felt weird, especially with Cody in the front row. It was kind of like it was a shout out. It was a good like little torch passing moment ish, and I see what they were trying to do with it. But at the same time, it was a middle finger to people that have been following the story. I don't know. I hope we're getting worked. I think it's just too early to say like this was a stupid move, this was a bad move, or this was a good move. Honestly,
that's where I was gonna try to calm down everybody because everybody's up in arms about it. I don't think you tease it like that, especially once we get to the Tribal Combat match when Roman ends up winning, and they have that moment after that match. I don't think you do all that just to say, all right, fuck this Cody story, that's over with. I think we're getting swerved here, Tuck. I don't know how you feel about all this, but something's up, in my opinion. I don't think they're that oblivious to the diehard wrestling fans.
No, I just think they left a number of doors open, right? That, as Bill Moss says, I have a feeling Rock is going to do a bait and switch on Roman at some point. Yep. That's one of the doors that's open, right?
You have to do that match.
I agree, but there's a number of ways to get there, and with The Rock not on the debut stamping out "I'm coming for you, Roman," I think there's I don't know that Triple H always says you write with the end in mind, so he does have a point, the ultimate point he wants to get there, and maybe they think they have time. I think it wasn't disappointing. But it was definitely not that needle mover I think we expected for it to be stamped.
For the casuals.
Mm-hmm.
That's who it was. Like everybody that just knows who The Rock is because of all the terrible movies that he pumps out. Like, that's The Rock. Okay, I'm going to listen to what he has to say. Oh, he's a nice guy. Oh, he's funny. He's cracking jokes. And then here we are, all the, marks. We're like, oh, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Ian, the only thing that's really pulling me in the direction that this is going to happen is because The Rock is older. We don't have many other opportunities, a time to do it, and why not do it in Las Vegas? So that's why I'm holding out hope that this could be the bait and switch that Bill's talking about.
Again, the thing though is like they think they have a lot of time, and we're 5 months away from WrestleMania. 3 months away. Oh God, that's even worse because The Rock's not going to show up next week.
4. My bad. Yeah, 4.
April 19th and 20th.
It is April. Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's like The Rock's not going to show up every single week. He's not going to be able to tell this story. It's going to have to be a switch and boom, let's get right into the match. And that takes away from it a little bit. But obviously, we're happy because we're getting the match at some point, if that's the case. But that's my biggest worry. Like, it's just not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things.
I see where you're coming from, but also let's not forget last year on the road to WrestleMania, how quick they pivoted that story, and that was later in the timeline here. So I still think there's definitely time to tell that story, but I get where you're coming from because, like you said, The Rock's not going to be on television every week. He was only on NXT this week probably because they were already in LA, and his daughter is the GM of NXT, which, by the way, we are going to talk about NXT. We're saving that for the back half of the show. Ian, I know you're a youngster, so how'd you like that Fortnite design in the middle of the ring?
Fucking hated it. Just throw Netflix logo in the middle. Like, gosh.
Like Chris said from the Junkies, why can't we just leave the Prime in there? Like, that was actually growing on me.
Yeah, it was growing on me too. The canvas looked good, and now I like the black canvas though. That is starting to grow on me a little bit already.
Did you see the blue canvas on SmackDown?
Hated it. So ugly.
Tuck to me,
So
it just
bad.
looked like carpet.
I was confused. Like they were wrestling on it. And I'm like, they're not done. I thought it was blue carpet. Why are they wrestling on that?
I thought they were gonna go to like Miz TV or something like that, you know, or like the Grayson Waller effect. That's the rug that Grayson Waller's been using ever since he got called up. No, it's now the ring, I guess. But let's talk about that tribal combat match because that was the actual first match on the card. We already alluded to the fact that Roman regained Ulafala. He is the tribal chief. He was always our tribal chief, but
absolutely,
he definitively beat Solo Sikoa here to kick things off. And Tuck, I mean, if you haven't seen a Bloodline match, then this might have been too much for you. But if you're like us, we know how Bloodline matches go. This felt like WrestleMania where everybody was coming out of different directions. Hell, even Kevin Owens got in on this action. Well, I still enjoyed it all.
That is the tribal combat match. It's tribal combat. Tribes having combat, but the ultimate winner becomes the tribal chief, the head of the table, right? And so you have these tribes that are warring with each other, and that was really what this match kind of solidified for me. Is like, this is what a tribal combat match is. It'll never be one-on-one. It's almost like you got to get your squad ready to help defend your tribe, and ultimately Roman's tribe won. But I liked the inclusion of KO and Kevin Owens, or Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. KO and Kevin Owens, like the old switch and boom, like Ian says. I think it was awesome. It was fast. They didn't hold back. They could have watered that down so much that it was really just Roman and Solo fighting for this necklace that matters, but they didn't disappoint a seasoned viewer, I don't think.
Oh, dude, Roman was just wearing those Kobe's. He looked like a badass. The drive-by in the Kobe's, that was a visual for me. I'm like, I'm a shoe guy, so I respect the game. But I did want to go back to a comment, Ian, before I get your thoughts on it. I kind of like this idea for us, like just changing with NXT and changing our color scheme. He's asking if we're going to go black and silver, kind of like NXT.
I don't like it.
I kind of like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I can.
That idea.
We can.
We can make
do one T-shirt design with it.
Yeah. If Bill's gonna buy it, then he's already bought enough. he's already bought enough from us. We appreciate hot sauce. But Bill said he was surprised to see that Jey Uso didn't come out to help Roman out. Ian, we saw Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso, but I think it made sense because Jey had that match later with Drew.
Yeah, no, Jey was smoking doobies in the back. He was busy.
He was listening to Fiend.
That was hilarious. I'm sure we'll talk about it some point.
Oh, yeah, but we're going to get to that. Don't worry. But how did you feel about the tribal combat match?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of indifferent to these kind of matches, but like I gave my critiques on the WrestleMania stuff too, as it happened too. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but it's fun. And especially to a casual viewer too that's never seen wrestling before. It's a lot to take in, but again, very good match, obviously. I had a great time doing it and watching it, but it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to keep up with, especially if you're a new viewer. You're like, why is that guy here? Like, I don't know if you guys know who Kay Adams is. She covers the NFL. Yeah. She was in attendance, and she, like, tweeted out that she was going to Raw and she wanted some advice. And then everybody was like quote tweeting and be like, IWC, please don't scare this attractive woman away from professional wrestling, because we know how those fans could be. But like to someone like her, she was probably very confused watching it. But to us, I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is just the right call. And afterwards, you get that interaction between The Rock and Roman Reigns. No physicality whatsoever, Tuck. They just kind of shake hands. So at the surface level, you think this is all said and done, but like we talked about earlier, I'm not buying it still, but it was still a little awkward after the match, I thought.
Yeah, it was one of the doors, ambiguous in my opinion. I was expecting a little more tension between the two, but again, maybe we've got the switch and boom.
Maybe we'll get that as a t-shirt design after Poppin' Large gets re-edited. Oh, by the way, guys, we didn't
because
even
we bring the boom.
Boom! That's what we do over here at OTM, baby.
Ian, you didn't do it.
Boom!
Oh, sweaty.
I'm sweating. I've told you, I'm a sweaty boy.
But they were,
so I didn't want to do
popping.
It. That's why I didn't want to do it.
I
respect it. It's fitness.
You still did it, yeah. By the way, guys, before I forget, there is a new design that we're going to keep up there at the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com. It's not like this hat right here, but it's the same style with snapback trucker hat. It is a black OTM hat, just hit the site. So if you want to rep the brand on top of your head, we don't just have beanies that will keep your ears warm during the wintertime. We have hats now, so head on over to our merch site and check it out today. Notice how Paul's face was very blank. Mm-hmm. That was a sign, I think, Ian.
Yeah, no, it was. I made sure to watch Paul Heyman because that guy is notorious for always being in character and kind of doing the expressions that he should be doing just to sell the story. Yeah, and there were some times, like anytime Roman looked away, he gave a different facial expression too. I kind of noticed that. That's the small stuff that Paul Heyman, that's why he is a deserving GOAT as a manager. So, yeah, it's a small thing. So that might be one of the reasons that maybe he partners with The Rock. Who knows? But I don't think The Rock needs it.
I'm going to put it on the record right now because I can. The Rock versus Roman Reigns will happen at WrestleMania. I guarantee it. Mr. OTM says so right here, right now. That might not mean much to anybody out there, but it means something to me that I'm willing to put it on the record here and tell you to relax. We are going to get it. The Rock versus Roman Reigns. They are just swerving us. Enjoy the ride.
Can I make a guarantee?
Yeah, go for it.
I will make a guarantee, and it has about the same pull as Mr. OTM's guarantee up there. I'm going to guarantee that John Cena and Cody Rhodes are fighting for the title at WrestleMania. It's happening, people. It's happening, people.
Well, it might be happening because, the farewell tour did kick off on Monday, and he essentially just declared himself for the Royal Rumble because he brought up the fact that everybody wants him to win that 17th title, and he just even spoke on it and said, you know what? I don't think that's in the cards this year. But there is an event happening where you can guarantee a spot. And Ian, what you're saying is a rumored match that I've been seeing as well, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. This is something I think that you've been talking about now since last year, haven't you?
Yeah, last year after WrestleMania, I said I really hope that Cody and John Cena face each other. And I don't know who wins that match, honestly. Obviously, we'll tell when we get there, but I really hope it happens. Yeah, because when else is it going to happen? Obviously not this year or the next year.
This is true. We only got one option here. But, man, I got emotional talk. As you know, I'm the biggest John Cena fan there is out there. Just, taking that all in. I feel like that's what we're all going to be doing whenever he makes his appearances. I know his next appearance isn't till the Royal Rumble, but how did you feel about the, embracing of the crowd for John Cena and him announcing that right there, that he's going to be a part of the Rumble?
3 words. Here we go. Right. Let's, I think he was playful in his delivery, and that he, it would take a miracle. I'd need to win the Elimination Chamber or Money in the Bank or Royal Rumble. And so it was a fun delivery. and a clear pathway could be a tease. He could win the Elimination Chamber too and get a spot. He could, so there are multiple paths. The Money in the Bank is the least likely, in my opinion. I think he wins the Rumble. That is a clear path, and it builds in a reason why the match gets to happen. He won the Royal Rumble, and doesn't require a ton of physicality or to be a blood feud because it's two baby faces at this point.
Well, I kind of like having those feuds on occasion. I think they're nice from time to time.
It's like it's a built-in reason why, and everybody wants to see like there's a lot of. It's just a different take. You know what I mean? It's two superstars, two absolute rock stars main eventing the biggest WrestleMania
of each era. You could say.
Passing of the torch.
Yeah.
John carried that company for 20-ish years probably, and now Cody's quarterback one. But man, it's Bill's comment. Please give the Rumble win to Jordan Devlin. And if you're not familiar with that name, Jordan Devlin is now JD McDonough or anyone but John. Sorry, Kyle. Yeah, I that's the problem though, is I can't think of anybody other than John. Maybe a Drew McIntyre,
Kevin Owens,
CM Punk.
Jey Uso, there's 6-7 names. There's a good Randy. 10 like that. A third of that field could be real fun and a lot of good stories, and that's why WWE is in a very strong position right now. I feel
so many main eventers.
They hold the cards, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is really this felt like a new era already to the era that we were kind of experiencing for the last couple of years. It was just a different vibe on Monday that I felt personally, but I don't know if they're going to be able to continue on that momentum. I guess time will tell, but we do have a new women's champion as Rhea Ripley finally gets the title back that she never actually lost. It seems like the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley feud is finally over. Hallelujah. Everybody rejoice because Mommy is on top. Tuck, I thought this was their best match that these two women put together. And it seriously does feel like that was finalized right there and then. It's time to move on.
Well, and I think a big reason we put the stamp on it is because Liv Morgan was booked strong. She got offense in. She again, you had some resources, but she kicked out of some spots that she probably shouldn't have kicked out of, right? So I think they sent Liv Morgan out. Yeah, they sent Liv Morgan out strong too, where it doesn't feel like Liv Morgan's going to go to the bottom of the card. She put up a great fight against Rhea, but Mommy's always on top.
Ian, are you surprised we didn't see like a Becky Lynch or a Charlotte Flair show up after this match?
No, I don't really think so, because my brain keeps coming back to this was a show for the casuals, and this was a show to drag people in. Rhea Ripley is the torchbearer of this generation for women's wrestling. I don't think that's really especially to us try-hard wrestling fans. We kind of all know that. I do want to point out though, Tuck, you reminded me, the wrestling that they put in the ring was it felt deliberate. There was a lot of heels beating the absolute shit out of the faces and making that huge comeback. Pretty much basic wrestling. And there was a lot of kickouts on finishers, like kick out after kick out after kick out after kick out. It kind of felt like it was it was Triple H's way of saying, this is wrestling now, and get used to it because this is how it's going to be. But yeah, no, I liked Rhea Ripley winning it, obviously. Finally, the feud's over. Dom got riptide, and that was really fun too.
It was. Yeah, Dom definitely had to get his there. It's the result that a lot of us expected, but I just think it's totally the right decision. And like you said, Tuck, I don't think Liv Morgan gets lost in the shuffle because she could easily just team up with Raquel and be a part of that tag division that's actually growing. I feel like the women's tag division actually means something nowadays.
And that's a shout out to Bianca and Jade. They held the titles for a long time and gave the women's division a reason to form some strong tag teams to oppose, because if you put the title on those two, somebody's got to beat them eventually, right? Bianca's not going to stay the tag team forever, and we've got the Jade Cargill of it all, and there's intrigue and there's interest, and so many doors.
I like what Bill's saying. Finally closed the book. It was getting stale since October. Yeah, we totally agree. We're just glad that we got the conclusion and we're headed in a different direction. Who knows who Rhea Ripley is going to be facing, but I think we kind of have a guess on the SmackDown side, which we will touch on in a little bit when we discuss SmackDown. But let's talk about something that makes me very happy. And I know it's got the internet going crazy, brother. And it's the fact that Hulk Hogan showed up to Monday Night Raw and he didn't get the ovation that we are used to hearing. Brother got booed out the building. Now, before you start throwing out your conspiracy theories in the chat, I'm telling you right now, it had nothing to do with politics, because if it did have to do with politics, then they would have been booing The Undertaker too. And when The Undertaker came out and gave the rub to Rhea Ripley, nobody was booing The Undertaker. It just has to deal with the fact that we do not care about Hulk Hogan in 2025, brother. Tuck, I don't know if you share that same opinion with you. Were you shocked to hear that crowd react the way they did?
Like yes and no. You know what I mean? Like, it showed that LA was an audience that had opinion. You know what I mean? And maybe like Hulk Hogan is a thing of the past, you know, a very polarizing figure, especially coming off an election season where he let his voice be known. So he's polarizing right now. And one of the podcasts I listened to post wrestling, they were talking about like maybe he becomes like a UFC partner, because that crowd's going to think it's Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so like
they'll be saying their prayers.
Maybe the market's shifting a little bit, but he certainly did not receive the warm response. I thought, but sounds like he handled it, you know, took it well backstage. But WWE is also a co-owner in the beer company now, so
yeah, and it's a long-term commitment too. I think with that beer sponsorship. I mean, I don't want to sit here and call him a racist, but he has made comments that are racist. So,
hey, Stone Cold's got a beer too. They could have went that way. Like, it's weird. You know what I mean?
And Ian likes that beer. Stone Cold's beer. Don't you love that beer?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. Very
Broken
good.
Skull, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah. IPA. I love the American lager. You know, I'm basically friends with Stone Cold. I've seen him twice. So.
True.
We're
True.
basically, I mean, homies, yeah.
In public, by the way, people. He's the real deal.
Bill said, I was honestly amazed hearing Hogan get booed. Vince came out and did more horrendous things, and dude got cheered. Yeah, you're not wrong there, Bill. Robbie said, give the man some respect. Everyone would like to be that man. I love seeing that man. Jimmy Hart, ladies and gentlemen. You had me. I'm not going to lie, Robbie. You had me in the first half. But who doesn't love Jimmy Hart, indeed? I think there was an opportunity that we could have had Jimmy Hart on the podcast. Fun fact that I don't think I've told you guys before. But it still might be a possibility. So it's something we can look into. But let's talk about weed.
What?
Because Jey Uso... Wait, what are you wanting to? The weed?
That's just like a footnote? I just left that out?
Yeah, just move past that one.
I forgot that we could have had an interview with Jimmy Hart, and we have the option still of interviewing Teddy Long. That is
true. The Teddy Long one I do know.
Yeah, these are facts. We could talk about it offline. But let's talk about the fact that Jey Uso got secondhand high off of Travis Scott while he performed Fiend, or
so
came out
funny.
to the dude. This is the definition of a new era, Tucky. And then I love Pat. He's just like, he's got the sage on him.
Yeah, dude. It was like one of those things where it's a way to show edgy content. It's not illegal in California but that's considered a public space, so I don't know, risque. But it was like it's like an edgy thing, like, ooh, that okay. It just felt a little different. Stunned by the outcome.
I was stunned by the outcome too, but Ian, what got really people talking is just that the viralness of that combination of people coming out to a ring. Like it really was an insane visual to see.
Yeah, no, Travis Scott is a huge wrestling fan from what I have seen and what I've heard from the past. So it was really cool seeing him out there, because like the dude, like as happy as he looked, he probably was, because I mean, who would not be that hyped while coming out to a Jey Uso entrance along with Jey Uso, smoking a blunt too? Oh my God, that was It was funny. It was very funny and very entertaining, which Travis Scott is very entertaining. So I will be honest though, I this is the match that I was not able to watch. I had a phone call, so did not be able to watch this one.
It wasn't that great. I mean, it was just okay, in my opinion. Tuck might have a different opinion, but I mean, I take it or leave it. I think it was just more about the entrance itself that took the headlines. Right?
Well, that was the thing when he had that entrance. I'm like, are they gonna? They're gonna have like that sweet entrance, like lose, and you're trying to like get people. Like Jey Uso is the Netflix entrance. Yeah. Right, like I think like that era, that kind of audience, potentially. And so, I mean, the show did when you look at Hulk Hogan, The Rock, John Cena, and Jey Uso and The Undertaker, like they appealed to many types. Like they played their hand well. And I thought the match was strong for Raw. When you zoom out and remember, kind of like free-ish TV. I guess we pay for Netflix, but we already did, right? Yeah. I thought I think I might have liked the match a little. I think the outcome was so surprising to me. I think that made my stock in the match go a little higher.
Well, and that's just going to send Drew on more of an aggressive spiral of sorts, I guess you could say. So
it builds his character.
Yeah, it builds his character and it keeps him hot. Exactly, boys. Robbie said, WWE burying Drew in the new era. Bring back Scotland. What does ICL mean? I'm old.
He's going to help us with that. I don't know.
Ian, you are younger. You got to help me out.
My guess is I can't lie. That's my only guess.
I think you're right. I think
Solid.
you're right.
Solid.
You did a good job.
That was a guess. Thank you.
That's why we
represent
the
youngins.
Podcast. Yeah, you bring down our age a little bit.
True. That is true.
Jay and Drew didn't marinate well with Bill Moss. This could have been the opportunity to debut Gallus. Man, I don't know what it is with our chat and wanting to debut Gallus so bad.
What?
I disagree.
You guys love Gallus out there.
With all due respect.
Yeah, we just aren't Gallus boys. We're not. Right, Ian? It's
not
our thing.
And no one on Netflix that is just tuning in would know where to even look to find out who Gallus is.
Right.
I'm sorry. They're probably really good in the ring. I don't watch NXT, but no clue.
Like if Gunther is not even going to appear on that show, you really think they're going to debut Gallus? That's why they pushed back the Penta shit. That's why Penta didn't get, because they probably thought he would get overshadowed by all the things that happened, which I agree with the move. A lot of people are pissed, guys, but I think it's smart to push it back, right?
What do we have next week? Penta debuts? It could be right, and that's in freaking San Jose, right down the road. I will not be there.
Robbie asked, how many times can Drew lose? Didn't Drew just beat Sammy at main event? That's
correct. Yes,
right?
Pretty big win.
Robbie might have forgot about that one, so that was kind of a recent win. Robbie said Gallus helping Drew makes sense though in the future. A lot of Scottish history there. Trust me, we understand the history and why you guys think it's going to happen. We're just not Gallus boys. Gallus boys on bottom. OTM, that came off wrong.
OTM on top.
OTM on top, brother. We'll take them on. Give us a War Games match.
OTM OT, baby.
Who's starting that match?
Tuck's got the endurance.
Yeah, that's true.
He runs marathons. Yeah. Ian's our final guy because you're
probably the power guy.
The biggest guy, yeah. And I'm like the jack of all trades, I guess. So, Gallus, I don't know what kind of order you're going to send at us, but we're ready when you're ready. Gallus don't like Punk neither. Yeah, that's all right. I'll always be a Punk guy. And I know that's controversial, but he's a Chicago boy, and we're Chicago guys out here. But speaking of that chick magnet, Punk, he defeated Seth Rollins in what I could confidently say was one of the best matches of the year since we only are a week in. But I do think this is a matchup that we might be talking about later on in the year, Tuck, because we had a lot of hype going into this one. This match we thought was going to be happening at WrestleMania last year. It unfortunately couldn't happen because of injuries. I think this might have been even a better case scenario because I feel like you're going to have the most eyes on this actual episode than any WrestleMania. I could be wrong there, but to me, this happening here on Monday Night Raw instead of Mania, I thought it overexceeded my expectations that I had for it.
It doesn't slam the door shut on them running it back at Mania too. And so I think it was smart. I thought the match over delivered in my opinion. I thought it was a fight, between these two, and it felt real and it felt raw and it felt emotional. And I hope it's not the last time we get it.
I don't think it will be. Ian, what do you think about this one?
Top to bottom, it was fantastic. Obviously, this is what happens when you have an insane build, such as Seth Rollins and CM Punk. This is why they wanted it at WrestleMania last year, but I'm kind of glad it got delayed because this is carrying a lot. It's carrying a lot of weight, and it deserved to be that main event of the first Raw on Netflix. Kind of shocked by the result. I was kind of expecting Rollins to win the first match, which I expect to be like a trilogy or some series of some sort. But it was really cool seeing them. Like, there were some shots that connected, which built into it. I'm sure before they got out in the curtain, it was, listen, man, if you want to go at it, we could go at it. It's fine. Yeah. Don't make anything look fake, because that is a blood feud. And going after the GTSs on each other was really fun too.
I mean, even they were selling their asses off too, man. They made it
Hell in a
look
Cell,
like a
Mania, could be.
I mean, they made you believe that they were exhausted. That felt like a marathon. That was a sprint at times too. Like, it just, the back and forth of it all, the kickouts, the near falls, and that's something I think was Tuck that talked about, or maybe it was Ian. I'm sorry, I forgot. But that does kind of feel like a new thing now that could be happening in the WWE. Is like, it was Ian. Sorry, Ian, you're the one that said this, because we're used to in the past with the WWE just hitting one finisher and that being it. But like you said, in Indies, AEW, New Japan, spamming finishers is kind of the popular thing to do, and it builds that suspense, and you heard that crowd react to that main event. Perfect.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's kind of in reference to, like, I don't know, like a football game. One touchdown's not going to win it. It's going to take 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, sometimes 4 touchdowns. I mean, and the crowd goes wild on those too. It can win on 1 touchdown, which that's the stuff that's really fun about it. It's finishers. I think they've evolved. I get it. The name is a finisher. Once you hit that, it is over. But wrestling has kind of evolved, and a lot of finishers can be hit at any point of the match. And a lot of people kind of say, why don't you just hit your finisher? But
as long as there's a build to it.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't want to be spamming them.
Yeah, kind of like me on WWE 2K.
Dude, I can't tell you the last time I played that game. I've just been playing college football.
Been a while too.
Yeah, we might have to get back into that. I love the My GM mode on there, but let me pull up some comments here. I forgot we got Robbie and Bill in the chat. Robbie said Punk versus Seth was always going to deliver. That was great. Had me barely blinking. It was that good. I love that they both used each other's finishers on one another. Absolutely, Robbie. Bill said, tad annoyed they didn't do picture-in-picture during this match. Yeah, that's a fair critique just because of all the hype that was behind it. And he goes, hell, even HBK and Taker spammed finishers in their match, which they did, which is, I kind of like that direction that they'd be going in. But, Tuck, I agree with what you were saying. I think we're going to get more. I don't know if it is Hell in the Cell or where we see it, but I think the obvious thing that we could probably all agree on is that Seth probably eliminates Punk from the Rumble. Keep the feud going.
I would say so.
Certainly a move.
It's definitely a move. Do you think we see it at WrestleMania?
For the finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's Hell in a Cell. I mean, anything goes kind of match. Yeah, absolutely. Because at this point, there's not a hotter feud, and there's not a feud that kind of deserves I guess like a blood match kind of thing at WrestleMania yet.
Or do maybe a Last Man Standing. Yeah, something around those lines. When they did, I think it was Last Man Standing at Mania with Shane McMahon and Miz, and it actually was really good. So
it had Miz's dad in it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then Shane jumped off that thing on the outside. Yeah, Shane's always jumping off shit. I forgot what Mania that was. Robbie said, to be fair, with picture-in-picture Netflix ads, it didn't last that long. I was surprised with how short each ad break was. Yeah, that's the thing. We all experienced ads here, right?
I didn't get a single picture-in-picture.
Really? I got at least a couple of picture-in-pictures. Tuck, what about you?
Never.
Huh.
It sounded like Michael Cole sent it to picture-in-picture. He would say like along the lines of "stay with the action" or something like that. Yada yada yada. Yeah, and then it would just go straight to commercial. Never got a single picture-in-picture.
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm still don't know for sure how the ads and whatnot work, but it seemed like it was done in a timely manner. I saw that they were rumors they were going to go 3.5 hours. They did not, but just to recap the debut episode on Netflix, once again, guys, this definitely was tailored more to the casual and new wrestling fan with the sprinkling for the diehards. And that's why I enjoyed this. I thought it delivered. You're going to hear other people shit on the product, which that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. So what? I enjoyed it. I thought they knocked it out of the park. And I'm excited for the future of Raw on Netflix. For me, Tuck, it gets an A. I don't know about you.
Oh, A, yeah. I thought it was a great show. Hopefully we keep the pace up. And I found intrigue in the main event because they don't have a hard out. And so
True.
the show could be 258, could be 252, could be 307. And so they're not stuck to that rigid 3-hour slot on the dot, or 303 with the slight overrun. So it leaves intrigue there. It was an A for me, and on to next week.
Ian, how'd you feel as a whole?
Yeah, it was a low A for me, and the only reason I say that is like it ended everything. Now I feel like next week is like the season premiere, if that makes any sense.
It kind of started everything. We got like new feuds to come out of this now, or new champions, I should say, not new feuds.
I mean, it felt like the season finale because, like you said, it felt like a WrestleMania.
Fair.
All these feuds built to this show, and now next week we're figuring out everything because there wasn't a lot of follow up to all the matches. So next week,
I think it makes sense because you put the stamp on it in the debut. In episode 2, for the ones that come back, they don't have to know anything for these feuds to make sense.
Just check out episode 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, and I like what Bill said at the end here. They kind of just showed you everything there is to know about the WWE for anyone new tuning in.
Yep.
It basically was their resume. Hi, we are the WWE. This is what the fuck we do. It's a sprinkle of all this stuff combined into one big show. You're going to love it. And I think for the most part, everybody did enjoy it. And Bill agrees with you. He said, felt like it was a finale. So we're going to finalize talking about Monday Night Raw. And check our watches, guys, because I'm not sure if it's what time it is. Oh, it's Tiffy time, guys. Last Friday, Tiffany Stratton successfully cashed in her Money in the Bank. Finally, there was a lot of speculation, Tuck, online when they announced that Naomi and Nia were having that title match. But the way that they executed that cash-in, honestly, may have been one of my favorite cash-ins of all time. I thought it was very well done.
Well, we got a great match that led to a credible reason. We got Tiffany owning it, right? You're going here, I'm doing this, I'm cashing in, here we go. And so yeah, I think Tiffany Stratton came out strong from it too, not in a kind of chicken shit-ish, which was what you kind of get with Money in the Bank sometimes. It roll in, boom. Like I thought Liv Morgan stole it, with her Money in the Bank. I thought Tiffany, she earned it.
Yeah, and it felt more like a babyface reception, too, from the crowd. But, Ian, typically, they overdo the teasing of the cash-ins. And I was worried that they were once again just teasing us. But come to find out, via a bunch of shenanigans, how did you enjoy the process of that cash-in?
I think you put it perfectly. It felt like more of a relief for me that you finally won the title because it did start to feel like a Damian Priest kind of situation where it was, okay, please just do it because we know it's going to happen. And it felt good going into that match and knowing that it possibly could happen again. And eventually it did. The first tease at cashing in felt a little strange to me. It felt weird, but they inevitably cashed in on it, pun intended. And it was a feel-good moment, yeah. I think she's another one of those wrestlers, kind of like a Rhea Ripley, where it's not a picture-perfect face, but she is a face because she's that damn good.
It's just hard to dislike her. And she's kind of gotten away from that NXT brat character. She's just Tiffany Stratton on the main roster. I mean, what you see is what you get with Tiffy, but I do have to pull up this comment, and I know Bill addressed it, and I didn't want to pull it up without prefacing that Robbie, you are one of the greatest MVMs of all time. You are one of my good friends, and I appreciate you, my friend. But
Hey, I'm gonna let you finish. You've been one of the best of all time, but
this is one of the worst hot takes I've ever seen in my life. He goes, I do not like Tiffany Stratton at all. I don't mean like her character. I just don't think she's very good, in his opinion. Anybody want to agree with Robbie?
No, I don't think so. I'll hold off on that one.
Tuck, you want to agree with Robbie? We love him.
no, I respect the courage to say something like that.
It does take balls to say that, because that is
true.
a hot. It is a hot take. Yeah, Robbie,
There are
don't
many
know how to
things.
come back from that.
Many
But
things.
hey, now that Tiffy is champion, basically a reset in the women's division on both sides. Tuck, is there a name you would like to see face off against Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania?
Charlotte Flair.
Woo! Come on.
Like hyper athletic, good feud. Like similar, like geared get up.
Very.
You know, like this generation, next generation kind of feud. Again, we're passing torches here. It is torch season, and I think that would be pretty fun.
Does Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair wet your whistle, Ian?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, you could pick Charlotte Flair into either of the titles. I know it's not a hot. I know that's not like a hot take for Rhea Ripley, because not a lot of people want to see her again against Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. But I kind of do still, because we have a new Rhea Ripley still. This is a brand new character. Tiffany Stratton, I don't care. Throw anybody up against her, and I'm going to be excited for it. Even like a Becky Lynch, I don't know how good the wrestling would be, but the storytelling would be really good.
Becky's an interesting name that I didn't consider. I would assume Becky is going to work on Raw because Seth's on Raw. That's just an assumption. I don't know if that's factual or not. But, I mean, Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton would be great, but I'm with Tuck, man. Charlotte's been rumored to return now for the past couple months, and she's kind of like Tiffany Stratton is on that same trajectory as a Charlotte Flair, which is crazy to say. But if you have Tiffany in her very first WrestleMania, not just have a match with Charlotte, but go over, you know how much that would actually do for Tiffany Stratton? I think that's where the money is at. And I wouldn't be mad at this one. I don't think she's been built up strong enough quite yet. But this could be a nice little filler match at like an Elimination Chamber or something. He said, give me Candice LeRae and Tiffany. And that could be a match of the year contender. And Tuck, at least Candice is on TV now. Like, we're actually seeing something.
Both win in that situation. We got to kind of find a way. And I love that Elimination Chamber. It's far enough away where, I mean, Tiffany's going to fight at Royal Rumble, right?
I don't know. They're probably not going to do a lot of matches, especially with Cody and KO already having theirs.
Yeah, but you do, I think, one of the women's titles at least.
They're going to have three. They usually have three, I think. They usually do like a fun non-title match and 2 title matches. So you got to figure out, I guess then, yeah, that would make sense to have her on the card.
I could see LA Knight and Shinsuke at Rumble.
Ooh, I think that was already announced. No, that's this week. Sorry. That's happening for the title on SmackDown this week, Ian.
It'll happen again.
You think there's a chance? You think there's
yeah.
They could run it back. Is Roxanne making the switch to the main roster now that she lost the belt? You know what? That's a good question. So let's get into it, because New Year's Evil did happen last night. I know my boys over here didn't get a chance to watch it. I did. I thought it was a phenomenal show for NXT, but I'm sure you guys did see the fact that we did get 2 new champions in NXT, as Julia successfully defeated Roxanne Perez, ending her nearly 300-day reign, and Oba Femi defeated Trick Williams, which started as just Trick versus Oba. Eddie Thorpe made his way into the match last second, but after it was all said and done, Oba Femi walks out as the new NXT champion. So obviously a lot to digest here, Tuck. It seems like WWE as a whole is just kind of resetting and reshuffling the deck. How do you feel about Julia, Oba, and just the new landscape of NXT going forward?
Well, I think it's going to be another way to show depth at both levels between WWE and NXT. And man, do they love their Oba Femi. And again, so do I. But it's kind of fun to see them at that NXT level. I think his stock has risen pretty fast. and for them to trust him and give him the title, they are treating it like a developmental brand. Let's see how this first title reign goes with Obafemi. And I love the reset with Julia too, right in time to head towards Stand and Deliver in WrestleMania. 4 months.
Yeah, we're getting close. We're going to be talking about WrestleMania very soon. I agree with Bill. He said Julia and Roxanne easily match of the night. When those two get together, man, special things happen. And just shout out to the women as a whole. I did do my NXT review on the Main Event Network TikTok page. So if you want to go check out more of my thoughts on NXT, just check it out at mainevent_net. I break down every single thing that happened this week. The women as a whole did great. We have a new champion here, Ian. We already know how talented this women's division is. Now you have that question from Robbie earlier. Do you see Roxanne Perez making that immediate switch to the main roster? And especially with the Royal Rumble coming up, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. It's just how do you, at this point now with the Netflix audience, it's a lot of new casual fans. How do you implement those NXT rostered superstars into the Netflix situation? Because that's a brand new situation. It's not a lot of steadfast WWE fans that probably have heard about NXT people, but Netflix, they have no clue. They don't know what NXT is. They don't know it exists. So that's kind of my issue with it and kind of worry about it. But from a standpoint about 3 weeks ago, yeah, absolutely. If Roxanne lost the title back then, I would say yes, please shoot her up, because I think especially on the SmackDown side, besides a Naomi, it's pretty tough for title contenders that actually makes sense. But Roxanne, she's carried the NXT division. Obviously, we know she could hold titles. She could have feuds and build the talent, because she got handed a lot this year and really did take advantage of that. Yeah, it's kind of tough to say, but yes, we want her on the main roster, but how they do it, I don't know. We don't know yet.
I think the reason you're probably hesitating is not the fact that Roxanne's not ready. It's just the fact that she could get lost in the shuffle. I mean, boys, think about Lyra Valkyria. I mean, sure, she's having a run right now in the Intercontinental Tournament, but for a 4-month period, I feel like she was barely used on television. So that would be my concern, Tuck, with calling up Roxanne right away. I feel like she could still maybe do some tag work with Cora or just play the mean girl for a little bit in NXT, but I wouldn't be mad if she got the call up anytime soon.
Well, and I think the mid-card titles establish a certain tier too, and kind of give them something. So I think it's more enviable to be called up now with the mid-card titles than it was prior.
Do you like Robbie's question here?
We already complimented the tag team division, and in the stock, it feels like they're putting in the women's tag team division. And I think that would be a great addition as well. Yeah. They both didn't win.
Yeah, that's true. Cora Jade lost that fatal 4-way match to become #1 contender for Fallon Henley's title. That was actually won by Stephanie Valkyrie. Ian, I don't know if you saw that. That was another good match in the first hour of NXT. But Obafemi, Trick Williams. I'm now interested to see where Trick Williams goes with this, because he's now held that title twice. So it feels like he's a shoo-in for the main roster, right? Because what else can he do in NXT?
I don't know. Trick is just so young to the point that the dude could build up that NXT roster even more, because he's a 2-time champion. Why not make him a 3-time champion? Make him a record holder in the amount of times somebody has won that NXT title. I mean, I don't hate that. He's doing a really good job on NXT still, and it doesn't seem like he's hating it. And also, the main roster is stacked on the men's side right now. We were talking about it earlier. The main eventers that are on that men's division, good luck. Have fun. Good luck. Bronson Reed made it through, but it took him 6 tsunamis. So, Trick, good luck.
And he's still not even around right now. Bronson Reed's hurt. That's another name that could be
good
inserted into a title scene. He's the big deal. But no, the Oba era is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see who would potentially step up and beat him. But a lot of other things were happening on NXT last night, including Ethan Page and The Rock interacting, which I don't know if you got the chance to see that. They did interact on social media about 3 years ago and kind of manifested this. So it was cool that they got to have a segment on NXT. Tuck, that's another guy that probably, I would bet good money, is at the Rumble. Ethan Page.
What makes sense? Wouldn't shock me. A good use of talent. I don't necessarily know that he needs to be called up right away, but he's one of those guys that I might be a little more urgent, isn't he? He's a little bit older than some of them.
I think so.
Probably upper 30s, 36 maybe.
Let me see.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely on the older side of things, but he's probably still got some time to go.
Yeah, 35.
Actually, no, 35. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's got some time to go. Rumble appearances for sure. Bill says maybe he and Mello rehash their beef, kind of like Sammy and KO did. Honestly, that's a great idea, Bill. I could totally see that happening in the Royal Rumble match.
That's on the mark,
guys. Yeah, that is on the mark indeed. Talk about a new era. We got Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Obafemi, so many new champions in the WWE, and it all happened in the matter of 48 hours, which is just crazy. And we were able to talk about it all in an hour, which also is pretty crazy to me because I want to watch IU basketball. So let's wrap things up here and get to our MVM. Tuck, if they're not familiar with the MVM title, why don't you explain a little bit about what it's all about?
Ladies and gentlemen, the MVM is the most valuable mark of the On the Mark Wrestling podcast. It is a week-to-week title. This is the TV stream title. You got to show up week in and week out, establish your reign. And at the end of the year, we vote in the OTMs, our annual end of the year award show, for the MVM of the year. Last year's champion, the inaugural champion, current MVM of the year, kind. You love to see it. But the most valuable mark is not only someone who's active in the chat, active quality, doesn't necessarily mean the most comments per minute or whatever, but it's a way for us to shout out those in the community that help the show be as good as it is.
For the marks, by the marks. We live by that saying over here at OTM, but unfortunately, the current MVM was unable to make the stream. I'm going to assume he's still under the weather or was at work. I understand, Great Brown Hope. We appreciate your support nonetheless. I'm sure you're watching this back on the replay. But some guy came in from the very start. He was, I believe, the second commenter on this video, and he was here for the entire ride. We are currently going head-to-head right now with Will Ospreay versus Buddy Matthews, but he is still in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, and new MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling podcast, Hot Sauce, Bill Moss is your champion.
Absolutely.
Hot sauce.
He brought it.
Trying to do it like
he
that.
delivers. That's what he does. He's a mailman after all. So congrats to Bill Moss for being the second MVM of 2025. It's going to be interesting to see how the resumes stack up because, like you said, Tuck, we now have an MVM of the Year award that people are going to be going after, and it's a very prestigious one. So
as of right now, it's a 3-dog race. We got Juggernaut winning the day after Christmas.
that's right.
Great
Yeah,
Brown
3
Hope
new
winning
champions.
last week. We got Bill Moss this week. So a lot of parity in the OTM comment section to start the new year. You love to see it. You got to tune in every week to figure out who's going to be the MVM too, if you are not one of the vocal types.
That is right. And Bill said I'm once again the 24/7, 7-Eleven, TV, YouTube, OTM, European, I-95 South champion. Couldn't have said it better myself, Bill. You knocked that one out of the park.
I think that's on the side plates, yeah.
It is. We might have to talk to our editing team and get that situated to get them customized plates.
Absolutely.
How about that? Boys,
We'll work
don't
something
forget, boys and girls. I don't want to just say boys because there are females watching as well. If you want to support the OTM podcast by going to the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com, we have tremendous merch available, like this OTM established in 2019 sweatshirt that is very comfortable. We got new hats on there, Pop and Large t-shirt in the works, honorary mark, so much cool things on our website. So if you go on over there, check it out today. We would greatly appreciate that. Ian, the Main Event Wrestling Network, where would they follow them on all socials?
Well, that would be at mainevent_net. Yeah, you could catch literally anything. And again, if you would like to produce content for the wrestling realm, please reach out, especially with the t-shirt design. If you want to make a little cash and have a little platform to perform on, we're here. We appreciate all of you, and we love wrestling. And if you love wrestling too and want to perform, shout us out.
And just to clarify, we don't pay everybody. We're just talking about like paying for graphic work or something like that.
Correct. Yes.
You don't get
correct.
paid to be a part of the Main Event Network. It's just,
It's all
get
love.
the free
We pay in love.
publicity. And we're a big family, right, Tug? Big happy family over here at the Main Event.
Absolutely. Great group of humans we are establishing.
Yes, sir. So, Tucky, I think that's all we got for him for episode 229. Why don't you send us home?
Hey, I've been known to say it, and I'll say it again. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. A lot of good wrestling in a lot of good places, including AEW, which I will be switching to here shortly. So excited to see the Raw establish itself on Netflix outside of venues like the Intuit Dome, which was the perfect place to jump it off. We mentioned the reset button. We got a lot of new, a lot of good, a lot of great. And so continuing this momentum to the Royal Rumble for you two and further on to WrestleMania. We'll see you next week on Thursday, correct?
Yeah, I don't think there's. Well, then again, I don't know. No, the next game would be the national championship. I was just making sure Notre Dame didn't play. I don't think Notre Dame plays, so we'd be good.
Okay, Thursday. It'll be 7:30 Central. I've got baseball.
Okay, just follow
Deal
us
with
at
it.
On the Mark. You'll figure it out.
Deal with it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.
Yeah.